My parents live with me because I bought their house when they were going to lose it. They were going to lose it because of all the money they spent keeping my brother out of jail and keeping him in rehab. My brother is clean and sober now. Married with kids religious, his father-in-law gave him a great job. He's never paid my parents back 1 cent. I got my degree. I just had to take on some debt to do it. I'm out of the hole and working hard to move up. I live in the basement suite with my girlfriend and my dog. I make good money and my parents deserve a good life. They did what they thought was best. My brother had us all over to his house for a barbecue with his in-laws. It was a good meal and his kids, all right. For being his offspring, he then proceeded to mock me for still living at home, smoking and playing video games while living in sin. I told him to shut up and leave me out of whatever was going on. He said he knew I could be doing so much better if I applied myself and looked for guidance. I thanked him for the meal, and my girlfriend and I left. He yelled that he was telling me what I needed to hear. To motivate me, I got upset, so I said, I was motivated. I said that I like to smoke and to drink. But I paid for it myself with the money I earned from a job. I never stole from our parents to pay for sugar. I said that I lived in the basement of a house I owned because I couldn't afford 2 houses, one for me and one for our parents, and that since they went into debt to pay for his lawyers and rehab, I was subsidizing his life. I said that my college fund went up his nose. I may be bitter. We left, I guess. His wife, who knew everything, had never told her parents, and they were angry. My parents understand why I blew my top off, but they think I should have kept it in until it was only family there, and that I'm an idiot for not talking to him privately about his hypocrisy. Am I the idiot for Ting, my brother to his in-laws and kids? It was nice of you to refresh your brother's memory, since he basically insisted on you doing so. His pasu have stayed there if he hadn't decided to call you out for taking care of the mess. He made seriously. What did he possibly expect? Again by needling you? You are not the idiot. Your brother is a condescending, hypocritical idiot. He knows exactly why you're living in the basement because of him. Was he trying to look good in front of his in-laws? He obviously doesn't understand that calling you out in front of them, even if what he said had been true, would have been an idiot move. But even more, expecting you to take it after. Everything he's done was not going to happen. The in-laws are his family, and they have a right to know the kind of person who will be raising their grandkids. Your brother needs to drop his high and mighty act, and your parents need to put him on a plan to pay them, and in turn, you stunted your life because your brother messed up everyone else's and every party. You, your brother, and your parents needs to come together and have that talk. Since he's doing so well now, he can start providing for those who provided this life for him. It's despicable that you got your parents out of a hole, lost your college fund, after to worked twice as hard to build up with your partner, and he hasn't paid a cent back to your parents, and relied on his father-in-law for a job. Yet shows fake concern for you. He's purposefully putting you down. I'm glad his in-laws and children now know the truth about him because he's no one to talk. He should also be contributing to the care of your parents. I hope that the whole burden does not fall on you. People need a smack of reality sometimes and never feel bad for having to be that person. I, male 32, and my wife 30 have been married for 5 years and are expecting our first child. She's in her 6th month of pregnancy. She has a very tomboyish style, wearing only loose t-shirts, jeans, sneakers, and caps. She never uses makeup, dresses, heels, or accessories. I don't mind this because it's her personality, and I respect that. However, next weekend we're attending my younger sister's wedding. It's a formal and elegant event, and I know my family will judge my wife for her style. They're very conservative and traditional, expecting women to dress femininely and appropriately. Ely, I don't want them to talk behind her back or cause any embarrassment. So I asked my wife to dress more femininely for the wedding. I suggested she wear a nice dress that complements her belly, comfortable yet stylish shoes, and maybe some makeup and earrings. I told her she would look beautiful like that, and it would be a special occasion for both of us. She got angry with me. She said I was trying to change who she was, and that I didn't accept her as she was. She said I was shallow and should care more about her than other people's opinions. She said she would wear what she wanted, and if anyone had a problem with it, they could go kick rocks. I was disappointed with her reaction. I wasn't trying to change who she was. I just wanted her to feel good and fit in at the event. I don't think I asked for too much. I just wanted her to make a small effort for me and my family. Now she's not talking to me, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to cause problems between them, but I also don't want to hurt anyone. Am I, the idiot, edit for the wedding? She will wear a black pantsuit, a white shirt, Oxford shoes, a bow tie, and a flower brooch. Imagine saying to a pregnant woman, "You're not feminine enough," is being pregnant on its own. Not feminine, why not? Defend your wife if your family decides to judge her or talk about her behind her back. I don't want to hurt anyone. You already did that by telling your wife that even though her planned outfit meets the dress code, you don't like it, you absolutely mind what she wears, and use the entire story to double down on why you should have a say in what she wears. He's not worried about her. Comfort at all. He hasn't mentioned how her pregnancy is going or how she's feeling, but he's also preoccupied with how she will look to his family, who's already judging her. I hope she decides just stay in and rest on the day of let's see how comfortable yet stylish he looks at the wedding without a wife. Maybe instead of policing your pregnant wife's clothing, you could police your family's secret snark talk. You said what she's wearing is appropriate but not ideal. Get over it. Do you make a pretend to be another woman every time there's a family event? You are the idiot, dude. It's time to start valuing your wife above judgy witches. Yeah, at 6 months of pregnancy. I wear whatever I want to make myself comfortable. Do you and your family have a problem with that? Great, I'll just stay home and relax on the couch instead of making an effort to socialize with your family with my watermelon seas, stomach back pain, and swollen feet. You seem to care more about your judgmental, snobby family than your pregnant wife gross do better. I have a son who's now a young teen from my first marriage. My first wife died when he was 5, and I remarried when he was 7. My wife and I met several months after I lost my wife. We didn't enter a romantic relationship until 16 months after my first wife's passing. However, I know that from starting a romantic relationship to remarrying, we move fast. I know it was too fast for my son, who was young at the time and struggled with the change. I did have him in therapy, and our relationship didn't suffer. Because of it, he never stopped confiding in me and talking to me. But his relationship with my wife did suffer. As a result, he isn't close to her, and he's not close to his half-siblings. We've done family therapy, and my son had therapy to help him with the loss of his mom, and more recently to help him as he deals with my diagnosis. This all comes into play because I'm terminally ill, and my son wants to live with my late wife's father, brother, and family. Once I'm gone, he's expressed this to me since the topic of what happens next became a real ET. We need to prepare for. My wife doesn't want my son to leave her and the kids after I die. I know my 2 daughters will miss my son a lot since they're old enough, a kindergarten or any young grammar schooler to remember him. My son told me he would not be happy staying with my wife and other children. He told me he would rather be with his real family. My wife is aware of the conversation. My son and I are having over this topic. She spoke on behalf of herself and our kids. She believes I should tell my son he should stay with them, since this is his home, and she thinks it would spell the end of any sibling relationship if he can get away with never seeing our kids. She believes he could grow more fond of them in time. I spoke to my late wife's family, who would gladly have my son. They see him regularly as it is and have always been a part of his life. I trust that they will take fantastic care of my son. But I also believe my son would be happier with his maternal family. I told my wife this, and she said she thought I would want my kids to be close after I'm gone. She thought I respected her as an equal parent in our household, and that I would consider more than just what my oldest son wants. She asked me to really think if it would be best for him. I told her I had been thinking about that. She became angry, and we thought about it. I hate fighting with her. When I don't have long left, she told me I was showing a lack of concern or care for her and the kids, and accused me of being cold. Am I the idiot if I prioritize what my son wants and arrange for him to stay with his maternal family after I die? No, not the idiot. Your son is old enough to have a say in where he lives. It's a real possibility that he'll get resentful if you or your wife forces him to keep living there when he doesn't want to. Your wife seems to be looking after her children. Not all of the children. She wants her stepson around for how he can help her. She admits what her priorities are. Your son is not your wife and daughter's emotional support animal. It's not his job to make them feel better or more connected as a family. After you're gone, he's going through the heartbreak of losing both his parents before he finishes school, and he's old enough to make this decision for himself. Your wife doesn't get a say in this. She's not his mother, and he doesn't consider her family. You would be the idiot if you allowed her to say your decision. I, female 34, own a very small shop selling trinkets, and I normally run this daily by myself. The other day, a customer with a guide dog wanted to browse. I could tell it was definitely a guide dog. However, I have a severe allergy to dogs, and on top of that have asthma. When I was younger, an allergic reaction to a dog triggered an asthma attack. So now I'm very wary of being in a closed space with dogs. That's why when I saw this customer, I asked if it would be okay for the dog to remain outside, but I could possibly leave the door open. This was when the customer started shouting at me and calling me names, saying I was discriminating against them. The customer said that it's a guide dog that has to be with them at all times, and it's against the law for me not to allow the dog to enter. I offered for her to come another day when I could get my friend to cover the time she would be in the store and then get everything deep cleaned after, but the customer wasn't okay with that. Since they wanted to browse right now throughout this conversation, I could already feel slight symptoms coming on, such as itchy eyes, nose, and throat. The customer shouted at me for a while, which people passing could hear, but no one intervened or helped. Eventually, I just had to shut and lock the door so they couldn't enter. and I closed up for the day, they've now left a horrific review on my store, saying that I discriminate against those with a disability. Should I have just sucked it up and let them into my shop? Edit for info. I politely explained to the customer my allergies and how severe they could get, but the customer didn't seem to care. I have doctor's notes, etc. for my allergy, as I'm on daily medication. But the customer didn't give me any chance to explain or show constant aggression when I say suck it up. I don't just mean bear with the slight discomfort. I mean maybe I should have just let the customer and dog in, hoping that my reaction would not be life-threatening. Of course, I wouldn't know what could happen. I have an air purifier and I'm on medication daily to avoid the situation. I also deep clean very regularly, not the idiot. There are two legitimate medical concerns. You can't leave your lungs at home, but she can come back another day. Their need for accommodation for a medical condition does not supersede your own need for accommodation of a medical condition. You should look up the law around it. But personally, I would post on the door, service animals only permitted, legally by appointment, only due to severe allergic reaction. By owner will cause anaphylaxis that way. You're not denying entry, simply putting it up front in writing, that they can come after they make the appointment to do. So how would a blind person read the sign on your door to make an appointment that said, "Up needs to consult a lawyer, specializing in ADA and business matters," before putting up any signage that's fair? But then I pause the question, how can a blind person? Window shop ops dog allergy causes them physical harm and could be potentially life-threatening. The customer is not physically harmed by not being able to shop there. The shop sells souvenirs and trinkets, not necessities. Opie was right to refuse them entrance, the entitlement of people who think their problems are always worse than others. I have a 26-year-old daughter named Ava. We helped to put a down payment on a house, and she's changing things in the home. I've often told her to hire a professional if it's not a DIY project. I've had to fix so many of her projects, and I put my foot down, telling her I will not help from now on. Ava mentioned changing the tile in the bathroom, and I told her that she should hire someone for that. If she isn't using stick-on tile, well, she tried to do it on her own, and she made a huge mess of the bathroom. She called me up and asked if I could fix this. I told her. I told you, so we've done this dance too often, and she needs to hire someone to fix it. She told me it would cost thousands to fix, and I could do it. I told her no again, and she called me a jerk. Now she has a messed up bathroom since she needs to save up for someone to fix it, and she thinks I'm a jerk. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter, I told you so, and I'm not fixing it? Not the idiot. She's happy to take your money and your DIY skills, but would prefer that you keep your advice to yourself. Ugh, she messes up and then you get a call. Weaponized incompetence. She knew she couldn't do it, but if she messed up badly enough, Daddy would come to save the day. Princess is being dethroned a bit too late in life, but Lacey is better than never. I suppose I agree. Hope, are you sure, like really sure, that it's just a freakish amount of cases of her overestimating her capabilities? Is she not banking on the fact that you will come to her rescue? So, in effect, are you paying for her renovations? It seems that she starts these and screws them up to force you into fixing it for her. Because that would still be cheaper than having a pro do it. Right, the first time I agree entirely. I wouldn't be fixing anything for her. I would hand her a hammer and chisel and talk her through, pulling up everything she damaged. Most people become dramatically more competent when they work to fix their mistakes with guidance. It shows them exactly where they went wrong. Makes them think about how to avoid these mistakes next time and what the correct path forward is. That's no different from tutoring any other.